Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Simple Watch Reviews, where I review simple watches in a straightforward way. Today, another bargain military style watch from AliExpress, the Militado ML14. So let's start with the price on this one. It's a great price for a great looking watch. So the price on this, or I paid anyway, 40 British pounds, which is about 55 US dollars. So a very affordable watch, and one that I think we could all agree looks absolutely fantastic. It should look fantastic as well because it borrows its design. So this is a homage to the Mark 11 watch. So this is a watch that was commissioned by the British RAF, the Royal Air Force, in 1949. Two different versions of it were made, one by IWC and one by JLC, so the International Watch Company and Jaeger-LeCoultre. Those two versions differed slightly. They were slightly different sizes, but they both looked pretty much the same, and they were built to specifications that were supplied by the RAF. Militado have changed two of the dimensions slightly for their version of the watch. One of those changes I think is for the better, the other I'm not so sure about. So let me talk you through them and compare them to the original two watches. So the Militado is 36mm in diameter, which is roughly the same as the IWC and JLC. It is 45mm on the lug to lug, so it has got quite long lugs, and again that pretty much matches the original two watches. They were both around 46mm lug to lug. One of the dimensions that Militado have changed is the thickness of the watch. The original two watches were both around 12mm thick. The Militado is 9.9, so it's quite a lot slimmer, and that's probably because it's got a quartz movement inside. It's got the Seiko VH31. Personally, I would generally prefer my watches to be thinner rather than thicker, so I think that's a change in the right direction. The other change they've made though, and this is the one I'm not so sure about, is they changed the lug width. So the original watches had an 18mm lug width. The Militado has a 20mm lug width, and I personally think the slimmer lug width looks slightly better. I don't hate what Militado have done. I don't hate the 20mm lug width, and I've certainly got more 20mm NATO straps than I have 18mm, so it works for me in that regard. But I do think having a slightly slimmer strap looks slightly better for this watch. So let's talk about the finishing. The case is simply but nicely brushed all over. The lugs are drilled to make it easier to change straps if you decide to put it on something other than a NATO strap, and the crown screws down, which gives the watch 100 metres of water resistance, which I have no doubt is much better than the original two watches. The crystal is domed. You can choose different options for the crystal. So I went for mineral crystal, the cheaper option, but you can get the watch with sapphire crystal instead. And that crystal does have a bit of anti-reflective coating as well. The dial and hands are an exercise in simplicity. They are absolutely gorgeous. So very, very simple dial. You've got the triangle at 12, as is common for pilot watches, with Militado Watch Company underneath that. And then you've just got the broad arrow above the 6, another kind of designator of military style watches. The hands are fantastic as well, super, super legible. This really is a watch that's all about telling the time easily. The hands and indices are lume, so my version has BGW9, which seems to do a decent job. You can also get a version with photinid lume, which I believe is C3. And the supplied NATO is fine. It's not the best NATO strap I've ever had, but it's certainly not the worst either. And they have done a good job of matching the hardware to the case of the watch. As you'd expect for a small watch, it fits my small wrist really, really nicely. So I have a 6¼ inch wrist. I think this watch looks absolutely spot on. If you've got a larger wrist, I suspect it will look a bit small on you, especially as the bezel on this watch, despite it not being a dive watch, is fairly wide. So that dial to case size ratio is fairly low on this one. Overall, this is a great watch for the money. It's super legible, nicely finished, has fantastic classic looks, and is very, very comfortable to wear. The Seiko Mecha Quartz movement inside ticks away nicely and has the look of an automatic watch without any of the hassles. So if you're after a cheap military style watch that you don't have to worry too much about, I think you should definitely check this one out. Do let me know what you think in the comments. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and also please consider subscribing for more simple watch reviews.